Dr. Helen Rodriguez from Pomona Valley Hospital Medical Center, thank you so much for being with me today to answer our community's questions about COVID-19. Would you like to introduce yourself and just tell our community who you are and what your specialty is?
Okay. As you said, I'm Helen Rodriguez. I am a maternal fetal medicine specialist, which means that my practice is taking care of pregnant women that have high-risk conditions, either in themselves or their babies. And I have been at Pomona Valley Hospital Medical Center for 33 years now. I am very, very interested in preventive care for women, pregnant women in particular. So the business of the COVID vaccine is very exciting for me.
Thank you, Dr. Rodriguez. And my name is Nora Garcia. I'm a council member for the city of Pomona representing District 3. It's my pleasure to have you here today. And
thank you.
Your specialty is perfect because our community actually submitted some questions regarding the COVID-19 vaccine and pregnancy. So the first question we have from one of our residents is that she is pregnant and due in July. Will the vaccine be accessible to pregnant women? If so, then how soon would it be accessible?
Ooh, I think that's an excellent question, and I'm happy to tell you that pregnant women have been designated as high risk in terms of when they get COVID, so they are going to get the vaccine before the majority of the population gets it. And it is my understanding that after March 15th, the vaccine should be available to pregnant women.
That's good to hear. Thank you, Dr. Rodriguez. And in that same line, we have another question from a resident who's asking, will the vaccine affect me if I plan to have children in the future?
There is at this time absolutely no evidence that the vaccine interferes with fertility. There was something in the internet like maybe 3 or 4 months ago where people were questioning whether or not it did, but all that information has been debunked. There is absolutely nothing that says that it affects fertility, and we are definitely asking women who are considering pregnancy or planning to get pregnant in the near future to go ahead and get vaccinated. And if they do get pregnant while they're getting the vaccine, there's no reason to interrupt the vaccine. They could still get both doses, even if they get pregnant in the middle of their doses.
Thank you. And right along that same line, there's another question. Will the vaccine change my DNA?
No, there is nothing in the vaccine that is going to change anybody's DNA. The way that the vaccine works, it just carries a little bit of information in something called messenger RNA that tells your cells that it should replicate a little tiny part of the virus so that your body can form antibodies against that part and therefore be able to identify that part of the virus when it comes into your body and protect you against getting sick.
And so there is no microchip that tells the vaccine when to go ahead and start working?
There is absolutely no microchip at all. The mRNA or the messenger RNA is just a protein that gets into your system and it alerts your system that it needs to make that little tiny bit of protein for a little while. And the mRNA is actually does not last for very long at all. So even as you know, some of these vaccines need to be refrigerated very, very cold temperatures. And then when it gets brought up to room temperature, it just does not last very long. It does not last very long when it's put into your body either. So it is very brief that your body has an opportunity to identify the vaccine, to identify the protein, make the little molecules that it's going to make the antibodies against, and then it's totally gone. So there's no microchip in the machine or anything that would help to identify anything in there.
I think my biology teacher would be so ashamed that I only remember half of that from high school biology, but it makes sense to me, so I appreciate that. If there's no microchip in the vaccine, then do you have any idea why the name of the vaccine is called Biotech? Because a lot of people believe that there's something technological in the vaccine because in the name it says biotech.
Well, biotech is just part of the name of the corporation that manufactured the vaccine. So just like I am Helen Rodriguez, that's the name of the company that makes the vaccine. So no, there's nothing that makes me think of a technological thing that is inside there. No, it's all biology, really.
It's all science and medicine, and dead cells and attaching to your cells.
Correct.
I appreciate the clarification, Dr. Rodriguez. Thank you. And why do you think that there's such concern in the community that this vaccine was created so quickly, that, a lot of vaccines take years to pass the efficacy test, but this one we did in less than a year?
Okay, well, I think first of all, there's a misconception that it was created in less than a year, because the actual basis for this vaccine, which is the use of the messenger RNA, has been under study for over 15 years. So the technology for making a vaccine was already there. All they needed to do was identify what was the virus that it was going to go against. The other thing is that because this did become a pandemic, there was a lot of money that just got thrown into it. So no steps were skipped. They went through all the steps that they usually do, except they did everything much faster. One of the things that they did was they were able to start manufacturing the vaccine before it actually got approved, knowing that if it had not gotten approved, they would have had to get rid of it all. But the private sector did not have to put that money into it because the government put the money in, but they knew they were going to need the vaccines fast. So they were manufacturing it in the hope that it worked. And of course, they did work. They were effective, but a lot of the stuff was already done ahead of time. And again, I think it's very important that we understand this vaccine was not produced in a year. There was a lot of research that was going on for 15 years ahead of time that really is what led to the vaccine. Without that information, this vaccine would not be available today.
So the vaccine is really just like anything else in our society. We started here, then we got better, then we got better, then we got better. I mean, I remember my uncle's cell phone in the 80s was a giant brick, and now I have this, teeny tiny little thing. So that's basically the same concept with this vaccine. We started here and we've gotten here because of the progress we've made.
Yes, I think that's exactly right. The basic stuff was there. The frame for the vaccine was there before the pandemic hit. They just had to put the little ornaments on it that actually made it specific to this vaccine, to this virus.
Wonderful. So the COVID-19 vaccine, whether it be Pfizer or Moderna or now Johnson & Johnson, is completely 100% safe?
Well, all of the studies that have been done on very large number of people, more than 70,000 people have participated in the initial studies, has shown that there's absolutely no reason to believe that there's any bad, unexpected side effects from them.
And is there a reason why some vaccines are 2 shots and some vaccines are 1 shot?
It just depends on the way that the study was designed. And so the studies with both the Moderna and the Pfizer vaccine were designed with two shots because they wanted to get as many antibodies being built as possible. Now, with Johnson & Johnson, the initial study designed 1 shot, and so that's what's being used. But I think there are now studies being carried out to see if maybe there is enough effect on just a single Moderna or Pfizer vaccine to have the appropriate coverage. We just did not study it in that way. It got studied as of 2 shots versus 1. So that really is the only difference.
So once someone is vaccinated, fully vaccinated, either the 1 shot from Johnson & Johnson or the 2 shots from Pfizer and Moderna, how likely is it that they will be safe from people who were not vaccinated at all? We do not have enough information right now to see whether or not
they're going to be transmitting the virus, even though they themselves may not be affected by it. It appears that they will not be, but we don't have enough to really say. So even after people get the vaccine, right now the recommendation is that if they're going to be with people that are at high risk, that have not been vaccinated, that everybody should be wearing their mask. So until enough of the population gets vaccinated and we have a lot more information, the safest thing is to continue doing the things that we know are working while we figure out, how helpful the vaccine is in preventing the spread.
And do you have any idea how long it might take us to see if the vaccine would be safe for minors, for children?
Right now there are studies that are taking place where they are looking at children less than 16 years of age. And so I imagine in the next 3 to 6 months, we should have some information.
Thank you, Dr. Rodriguez. I appreciate that. I'm a teacher, as I told you earlier, and I look forward to going back to my classroom, but I also want my students to be safe. So I think many parents out there are not just wondering, well, what will happen if I take the vaccine and I'm going to conceive, but what will happen to my children if they get the vaccine? So hopefully those studies will bring us some information in the future and you and I could have another conversation.
Of course.
Is there anything else that you would like to share with the public about the vaccine, its safety, or any rumors you've heard out there that you want to dispel while we're here? Anything that you want to be like, look, that's not true?
Well, I think we kind of touched on the most important ones. There's not a chip in there that's going to be tracking anybody. That's just not true at all. It doesn't make any sense. Secondly, it does not affect your fertility. And thirdly, I think the most important thing to remember is look at what COVID has done to our communities and our families when people get infected and they get really sick. And it's not just those that are at high risk. I mean, there have been people that have been completely young and normal without any medical conditions that have been hospitalized and have actually died from this disease. So I think we know so much about what harm COVID-19 can do. And based on the information that we have right now about the vaccine, there really does not appear to be any risk that is significant associated with it. We do know that it protects, all 3 vaccines are excellent at protecting you against severe disease. So nobody that's gotten the vaccine has required hospitalization from COVID. Nobody that has gotten the vaccine has actually died from COVID. So the protection is incredibly amazing from the vaccine. So there really is very little reason to fear the vaccine and lots of reason to fear COVID. So my message to the community is, take a look at it. It really will help you to understand all the good that comes out of the vaccine. And hopefully we can get the majority of our population vaccinated so that we can go back to the lives that we enjoyed in the company of our friends and family.
I completely agree. I actually received my second Pfizer vaccine a week ago, and today I talked to one of my teacher friends, and we have a date to hug for the first time in a year when we both are fully vaccinated in 2 weeks.
That's awesome. Congratulations. I think
Thank
that's
you.
Fantastic.
I think that says a lot when we have to get excited about being able to hug our friends. So
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Rodriguez, for sharing your knowledge with us and for speaking to us and for our community here in Pomona. We truly appreciate what you have done, what everyone on the front lines has done for us this past year. And here's to better days. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for bringing this message to the community. I think it really is very, very helpful to have the people that are involved in our government, spread the word. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rodriguez. Thank you.